There's a dog.
It's a wild animal.
Wow. Wow. My voice actually sounds kind of cool when it's a little bit raspy when I'm singing.
Is it raspy?
Yeah.
Or is it stupid?
Both, I guess. There's a very specific reason why it's raspy. I'll tell you later.
What?
There's a sexy way. Oh, you got throat cancer from eating that hookers?
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah. I got.
You know how good that would be for our show if he got throat cancer?
Who was the pussy eating throat cancer guy?
Michael Douglas.
Yeah. The list.
I'm gay actor Michael Douglas.
Oh, say something, Steve.
yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, it was just switching over.
Gotcha.
You got me?
You looking lean around the neck, boy. You been losing weight?
I think I just shaved my beard a little bit, just trimmed it up a little bit.
But
Dude,
yeah, that's way easier than
that
using
takes
a
like 8
treadmill.
pounds off immediately.
Yeah,
I've eaten once a day, but I eat shit when I eat once a day, and so I'll kill like a whole pizza.
Yeah,
you know, and then just starve for 24 hours.
Steve, we're on the same diet. It's a great
can't be
diet.
good.
I was gonna do a bit here where I started this show like acting really shit face, like I was gonna do it all over again, but I didn't commit. Now it's too late.
I completely forgot that Thomas wasn't here for like the first 5 minutes of our first one. That was such a fucking disaster.
Yeah. Well, and you were blackout drunk for all of it because you guys have been partying with Stanhope.
Yeah, not all of it, because about halfway through, I started to come back to the other side, and he started fading away to the other side. So we like swapped. I listened back. In the second half, we definitely swapped roles completely.
Yeah, if you had a mixing board with sliders, we went.
I started coming back too, and he left me.
We had fun, except for that one.
How you guys been?
Story.
Been good. I like listening back to it because it was like hearing those stories for the first time. And it was really nice.
Yeah. What did we talk about on that one?
Religion. We got Rushmore of religions.
Yeah.
Okay, that's right. And this one's the Rushmore of shitty jobs, right?
Shitty jobs. It's a good topic.
With micro. Hey, you know what I realized today? We're talking about micro from Dirty Jobs. You realize that's micro.
Yeah.
Like, get it like small?
Like micro penis.
Yeah.
Goddamn fucking simulation. It's lazy writing in the simulation. They're trying to work in jokes.
And then he said Microsoft, and then I was like, "Holy shit, Microsoft penis!" And that's the kind of comedy that we do on a daily basis.
Bill Gates' dick.
How have you been, Steve?
And Microsoft makes Xbox.
That's a stretch.
Like pussies. All right, that's a stretch. I went too far. I should have left it at the last tag.
Yeah.
How have you been?
I've been shitty.
Oh no.
It's been a shitty COVID.
You're not supposed to tell the truth whenever people ask you.
Oh, it's been fantastic. Oh my God. Seriously.
Great.
It's like rainbows and unicorns.
Yeah, how awesome is this virus?
Yeah.
It's been great.
I think we beat it though, Steve.
Yeah. Did you get it?
Yeah, I got it.
He got it.
But I'm saying I think
you get it?
yeah,
I
got it, and I had 0 symptoms like the entire time. So it was just 10 days of me sitting at the house. So I tried to make the best of it, and I just scheduled like as many podcasts as I could possibly do, like guests on other people's podcasts. I was waking up at like 5 o'clock in the morning to do podcasts in Australia. Just tried to stay as busy as possible so I didn't lose my brain.
Me too. I did a podcast in Ireland. I'm doing it again on the 1st.
Yeah, that's what you gotta do. If you get diagnosed with
sane.
10 days of you can't fucking do anything or go anywhere, you gotta do fucking something.
Oh, dude, I broke up with a girl that I had been dating for 2 years. A month before COVID kicked in. Like we gave our notice on this apartment that we'd rented together, and then COVID kicked in, and everything shut down so hard that we couldn't even go rent a U-Haul to get the fuck out of Dodge. So we told them, it looked like it was just going to be a couple of weeks. They were saying 2 weeks. So we just told the office, we sent them an email because there was nobody even working there, and said, hey, we're gonna bump a little bit. We're not gonna move out as planned, but we're gonna bump until the end of COVID. Didn't ever hear anything from them. Long story short, I ended up bunking with that chick who we were broken up with for a year, almost a year. Like she just moved out of here. But it was a year of sleeping in the same goddamn king size bed. Just both of us hating my boner, walking our dogs at different, taking turns walking the dogs, but essentially just going through a breakup in a 1-bedroom apartment during COVID to get a shower. She's teaching kindergarten on Zoom, and I'm sitting, watching YouTube quietly on a laptop in the bedroom. So it was just, Jesus Christ, man! It was like I can't even describe what this last year.
Well, you definitely told the truth when we asked you how you were doing. That sounds like
Yeah.
a fucking living nightmare, dude.
Yeah, it was. But it's so fantastic when it's over, though. So I'm just like, got the house to myself now, just me and my dog. Oh, dude.
Jesus.
What's your dog's name?
Ziggy.
Ziggy, like Stardust or Marlo? Marlo?
Stardust.
Marley.
Yeah, I got him when Bowie died. So
Oh.
that's why I named him Ziggy.
You know, Ziggy Marley did the theme song for Arthur. The popular
Really?
PBS show.
Terrible show.
When you're walking down the street.
Oh, okay.
when you
Not
reach any
the
point
Dudley
of-
Moore.
No, not the
Trilogy.
good movie. He's talking about the terrible cartoon.
And I said, hey, what a wonderful time today.
That thing that only has eyeballs when he's got his glasses on.
Yes.
That panda bear look at
Yeah. What is it? Is he an anteater?
He's an aardvark, but he's an anatomically
Is he?
fucked up aardvark because aardvark's got the nose and shit.
Yeah. World's worst aardvark.
Yeah.
Nearsighted.
Yeah. What are you sipping on?
Well, they are actually nearsighted.
Whiskey.
That part was accurate.
Whiskey.
Yeah.
What you got? Yingling?
Yingling. We just took
What's
some
Yingling?
Alpha Brain. Oh, it's a beer. Y'all
America's
have that?
oldest beer, man.
How is Alpha Brin?
I'll let you know in about 15 minutes. No, we used to take it all the time, but it's been like 2 years. And then it was all over the fucking place in Texas. So I bought a bunch of it and brought it back instead of ordering it
The
online.
thing
like
that I noticed
normal person.
most is word recall. Like, when you're talking and you're like, and then he was driving down the street.
Yep.
Street. Like, that street comes like a lot quicker,
I've noticed that too. Yep.
Do you take it, Alpha Brain?
I used to take it when I had a radio show because that's you're talking for 3 fucking hours,
Yeah.
So it was just impossible to. I would just get punch drunk after. It was the best way to describe it. After about an hour, but then Rogan started hawking that shit, so I got one of those trial bottles and tried it, and it made my brain be able to take the whole 3 hours.
I'm sure a lot of it is like placebo effect. I mean, some of it's not, but you feel a lot sharper. You just feel quicker. It gave me weird fucking dreams every time I've taken it. Do you ever have dreams?
I don't have dreams. I got a weird. So the Mormon Church gave this is a fucking side story. So when my dad died, I used to have terrible nightmares about it. And when I got married in the Mormon temple, there's this place where they take you, where the president of the temple says, because Mormons believe they have power out of their hands. They call the priesthood. So he's like, is it before we get, I was about to get married. And he says, before we get married, I can give you a special blessing. Is there anything that's amiss with your life or upsetting you? I can give you a blessing and we can just make it all fixed right now. And I was like, actually, I have nightmares about my dad. And he's like, no problem. Sit down here and close your eyes. And he puts his hands on my head, commands me with the power of the priesthood that I'm not going to have dreams anymore. And I'm like, oh, dreams? Couldn't you speak? He just blanket says dreams anymore. And says amen. And from that and I don't believe in God or Mormonism, certainly anymore. But so it must have just been the power of a post-hypnotic suggestion, just because I was completely brainwashed at this time. And this guy was like, looked up to this temple president. So him saying that I'm not going to have dreams anymore just got in my fucking head. And since then, I have not been able to have any dreams. I must dream, but I just don't remember them or something.
Yeah.
And I've gone to hypnotists to try to reverse this shit. And I can't get that juju out of my goddamn head.
Dude, that's like having a superpower.
I think I just converted.
Part of my job when I was a Mormon preacher is when people were sick or depressed or just needed some kind of a help, it would be my job to go over to their house. I had this magic oil that I would put on their head. It's just olive oil that we say a blessing over. And I would bless people and they would get better. You're just harnessing the power of the placebo effect, really. If it's somebody who believes that you have the power, and if you fucking believe you have the power, you put 2 brainwashed people together in a room together and tell one of them he has the power to heal the other one, magic things are going to happen with the placebo effect.
Damn.
That's pretty incredible. That sounded like we did like a pre-interview and this is a shitty like talk show. And I was like, Alfred gives me dreams. Steve, do you ever dream?
Yeah.
He told me about his priesthood story beforehand.
Dude, I have dreams about like I have work dreams sometimes and I will wake up completely unrefreshed because I've been fucking working all night.
Yeah.
I had a dream where I was cleaning a house out for my boss's son and he wouldn't stop yelling at me. And then we found like a corpse or something in a refrigerator. And it turns out like he was having us clean the house out to cover up a murder that he had done. So I had to cover up a murder for my boss all fucking night. I woke up tired as shit, still had to go to work and see his ass.
That's not a bad plot for a movie. I don't think that one's been done.
We do need to make a movie.
Yeah, that is true.
We've been
That's on
kicking
the
that
list
idea
of-
around.
List of things to do.
Yeah, I just need somebody in it to have a stutter.
No, that's the worst plot.
That's our Oscar pool.
Thomas, we were fucking around and be like, hey, we should write a movie. And Thomas was like, God, this is such a great idea. You're gonna be blown away.
Still is.
And basically, the main plot point is just a guy has a stutter,
right.
And then the climax of the movie is what his stutter goes away when he.
No, his stutter doesn't go away.
No, I remember what it was. His stutter distracts the villain, so the good guys can escape.
Yeah, or defuse a bomb or something. They need a distraction, and he's trying to say it. The villain's like, "Fucking spit it out," and he can't, literally can't. But that's the stutter he's been made fun of for all movie. But then it saves everybody's fucking life because it buys them more time.
You know what would be a funny idea in that movie?
Yeah.
If you wrote the whole thing so that the stutter was part of it, and then you don't have the actor do the stutter, you just add the stutter with the digital gang when he's supposed to stutter, and then when it goes away, you just stop doing that. Yeah,
that's a great fucking idea.
Well,
like a Max Headroom type stutter.
That's yeah. I mean,
can you do a good stutter? You want to be in this movie?
You don't need me to do a good stutter, and yes, I'll be in your movie, but you add it in post.
Oh, that's a good idea. I got to find out how to do that.
I think it might. Yeah, there's got to be a way. There's got to be an effect.
Got to find out how to make movies, and then we can make one.
That's true.
That'd be great.
Speaking of making movies, they make movies in Texas sometimes. You just got back from Austin. How was Austin, Thomas?
It was fun.
What'd you do?
Played a bunch of arcades and ate a bunch of food and drank a bunch. That's about it.
Fell in love with Texas.
Yeah, it was nice. It was fun. I hated driving around Austin, getting used to this shit. Pascagoula, where we're from, there's no main roads. We have the highway, and that's it. Over there, I was like, well, shit, I got to go 2 miles. Let me drive for 25 minutes and go through 3 fucking tolls.
There are little towns outside of the big towns that are very country. You might check that shit out next time that you're here. Just go 30 miles outside of any of the major cities in Texas, and it gets super old schooly. I like that kind of feel of a town where you kind of park diagonal up against the storefront of the Rexall pharmacy, to go into the pharmacy. I like that.
Yeah, so we were scouting out kind of some neighborhoods and shit just in case we move over there, and we looked at the place called Hutto that was probably 15, 20 miles out of Austin, and it was like that.
Yeah.
The further we got into it, the more we'd see a random Dollar General pop up on the side of the road and a lot more hay bales and shit. And there's a place called Round Rock there that was really cool. There's some cool places over there, but yeah, when you're downtown Austin, it felt like driving around in New Orleans, which we've done 1,000 times being from right here. But I couldn't see myself doing that every fucking day. It was very annoying.
I'm gonna build a tiny house
in
the next couple of years, and I'm trying to find some property in that kind of town. Really, that's the only kind of town that you can build a tiny house in.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else has got too many restrictions.
So
I just. Yeah.
Anybody else who would say something like I'm gonna build a tiny house, I'd be like, yeah, sure you are, buddy. I fully expect to see a tiny house.
Yes. I could blink a tiny house,
dude. You just do shit. That's one thing I love about it. You just do shit. A lot of people talk about doing shit and never fucking get around to it. You just fucking do it.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I figure if I'm because I'm a comedian, and comedy is a shitty fucking job. So there's probably no retirement in store for me. So if I don't want to have to, spend my declining years in one of the guest bedrooms of one of my children, while I'm still young enough to do it, I got to build me a tiny house. Basically a 1-bedroom apartment on 5 acres next to a lake is what I want. I don't need anything bigger than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want a lot of property that I can run dogs around and fucking, shoot guns and shit. Well, and a tiny house. I don't need much house.
No. Well, I will say that the worst part of the entire trip to Texas was going through Houston. There was
the traffic,
the whole fucking trip. Yeah, dude, it's a 9.5 hour drive to Austin where we're at, and both drives took over 12 hours only because of Houston. I was in Houston for 3 hours on the interstate. I didn't get off in Houston. I was in Houston for 3 hours each way.
When I first moved here, I drove Uber for a few months, and it was like a goddamn gladiator movie.
Yeah.
I was coming from Hawaii to this goddamn metropolis, and it's like the traffic in fucking Blade Runner.
Dude, I feel like I was in fucking Mad Max the whole time I was over there.
And Hawaii is one of the there's basically no traffic.
Horse and carriage.
Yeah. No, yeah. There's one road that goes all the way around the island.
They ride pigs.
Feed them pineapple, they get a little faster.
I've been to Houston one time. I was delivering hurricane supplies after Harvey, and I was doing it for work. I was driving an F-350 with a gooseneck trailer full of water, and my turbo hose blew going up one of those fucking steel bridges, and then I tried to limp it to where we were going because it was only like a half mile away, and then it just died.
Yeah.
And basically, after that turbo hose blew, if I would have cut off the truck, it would have been fine. But I plugged up the diesel exhaust filter, and diesel exhaust filter, just a replacement, is $5,000 because it's like EPA bullshit. But yeah, that was my longest day of work ever. I was clocked in for 24 hours, and
I remember that. That wasn't that long ago, was it?
Well, that was right after Hurricane Harvey.
Yeah.
But I had to go back to Houston like a week and a half later to pick up the truck. It was fucking horrible.
Yeah, I went to Houston.
And I had to drive on the way back. I had to catch a ride from the local animal control fucking guy who was a complete fucking retard. Like it blows my mind that they give him a gun.
The dog catcher?
They give animal culture. They give him a dog? Stupid? I mean, a gun?
Yeah.
Why do they give everyone a gun in Texas?
That's
seriously.
Fair. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I went to Houston.
Mailmen have guns.
Yeah.
I was on Celebrity Name Game, the Craig Ferguson show that aired at like 9 a.m. on CBS. And they filmed it in a Sheraton in Houston. And me and two friends went, and one of the friends got way too fucking drunk before the show started, and we lost. And the other friend got so mad, he decided we were not going to stay the night, and we were driving all the way back home to Mississippi right after the game show. So we drove there. We're in the hotel for like 2 hours filming this show, and then took off straight back home. It was fucking miserable.
God damn.
Craig Ferguson was funny, but Courtney Cox, can I tell you a secret about Courtney Cox?
Sure.
She
wasn't even there. She just created the show. I have no stories about her. Nothing.
Some stories.
I was going to say that she had a dick or something, but she didn't. She wasn't even there. I thought it was very strange that they filmed a CBS show in a hotel like ballroom.
Well, I mean, they want to make production as,
that's probably very cheap.
Less costly.
I mean, it's way cheaper than building one on a soundstage.
That's very true. You know what? It's a great idea. That's why I'm not a producer.
When I was an Uber driver and used to drop people off at the airports, I would exclusively do airport pickups. So I would pick people up at the airport.
Yeah.
And I would drive them to wherever they were staying or their house, because it gave me at least, half an hour to 45 minutes with them in the car. And I would try a story out on them. I would just, no matter how tired they were, I would kick a fucking story down these people's throats, because it was like good practice for capturing the interest of a crowd. If you can catch a weary traveler on his way home from Orlando and tell him a fucking alpaca story, you've done something. I'd also never people to the airport. So once I dropped him off, I would never catch another ride. I would just go back, turn off the fucking Uber app, and drive back to the airport and wait for another fish, because I only wanted to practice stories. And I can't be caught up with taking your drunk ass around to find your fucking friends, because I got 5 minutes and then I'm really Uber driving and I'm not getting any better at storytelling.
Yeah.
So I would just, every time I would pick somebody up at the airport, I went all the way to goddamn Sugarland, just talk their goddamn ear off and just put on a one-person show with them.
Yeah.
But every single person that I would drop off at their hotel, I would always say, "Oh, this is where you're staying. My girlfriend used to work there. Staff's not supposed to talk about it, but that place is fucking haunted." I would say that to no matter where I took you. If it was some shitty, Marriott, whatever, I would always say that same thing to them. And they just added something to most, and even if they didn't believe ghosts, it was like, yeah, whatever. But if some people, they would just they would just added the most, like suddenly it became a magical weekend in fucking Houston, where they, there was a sound outside my door, and there's no explanation for a rattling of that.
That's
I just wonder how many people are out there right now with fucking Houston ghost stories, because I put that shit in their head.
It's like, yeah, the Uber guy told me that there was a double murder here, and the woman still walks around in the hall. It's like, that place was built in 2013. What are you talking about?
He said 3 people die a year die of fright, but they keep it quiet.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Pepper did stand up. What, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Last week?
What'd you think?
He tried stand up.
No, I'm good. Only
You don't like it? Yeah, after the first time.
Well, he had done it 10 years ago?
I mean, not 10, but yeah, probably like 2012, 2013. I tried it because the first time I did it, it went incredibly well. And it was mostly to do with the scenario that I got dropped in, and the fact that I was too stupid to know that I should be nervous about it. So I just went up and kind of Steve Cantwelled it and just told some wild fucking stories. And went incredibly well. So I was like, oh, this is fucking easy. And then I started trying to write jokes, and I was like, oh, this is hard and embarrassing.
So don't do that part of it. Just tell stories.
Yeah. Well, I could just not do stand-up also, because
Well, that set you did, it's recorded. It's up on our Patreon, by the way. If anybody wants to hear that, it's on our Patreon. It's Pepper's just the audio. I don't think there was any video of it. But I mean, it
The
went
one that went well, or
no, the one
that
from
he
like
just
last
recently did?
week. I thought it
Okay.
went fine. I thought it was okay. He wasn't he didn't want to do it again. He wasn't thrilled with it.
There's just no upside for me.
Yeah.
I get all the satisfaction that I need from writing songs about sucking dick and doing the podcast.
There you go.
Hey, to 99.99% of the population, the idea of speaking in public seems like a shitty way to spend an evening, you
Yeah.
know? But for that rare few people who wiring is crossed, it's just the best feeling in the world to make everybody look at you. So you know, you don't know until you stand up there which kind of person you are. Either you love that everybody's staring at you, even if you bomb,
Yeah.
you love that you got everyone's attention, versus, you know, it makes you want to die.
And you know, that night there was a girl, it was her very first time. I think she told jokes about working in a nursing home or something like that. And it went like pretty fucking well. And she was very comfortable on stage. And she came off and I heard her, she was like, I've been wanting to do that for years. There's no way I'm ever going to stop. That was fucking incredible. And I was like, yeah, you
Good for her.
should.
Yeah,
like,
good
you
for her.
should be doing that. Because
Yeah.
she was better than some of the fucking like established comics that have been doing it for years.
Yeah, and you see people like that from time to time in a city the size of Houston. Sometimes you'll be at a mic and you'll see somebody get up that's been doing it, you know, they've just done it once or twice or maybe a handful of times, and they've got something.
Yeah.
There's something about them, and you're like, that motherfucker should be doing this.
Yeah. My problem is I understand the work and effort it takes to like be good at it, and I have no desire to put in any of that effort. So I shouldn't disrespect the craft of comedy by going up there and dickheading around on stage.
Podcasting definitely takes way less work than doing comedy.
You can have a bad podcast and you'll never hear about it because nobody's going to like text you and be like, yo, that podcast episode fucking sucked. But like, if you have a good one, you will like, people will be like, holy shit, that was hilarious. Like, that's one thing I love about podcasts. It's like, if you have a bad one, everybody's just like, all right.
Yeah. And you're judged on the, you know, amalgamation of, you know, thousands of podcasts that you put out, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas comedy, you're judged by that 10 minutes or whatever that
in
people
real
see you.
time.
Yeah. It's the cruelest of all art forms. It's temporary. You know, it's only funny one time. It has to be absolutely original. Everything that you have to say, you have to Google every little turn of phrase or metaphor and make sure that nobody's ever said that before. And that's a high bar to put when people have been talking for as long as they've been fucking talking and recording things on the internet. So it's just, and then, you know, your material is good for somebody to hear one time. The second time, it's not nearly as funny. So you just have to constantly be doing shit like that. But
that's one thing that I've never considered is the pain of like coming up with a bomb ass premise that you think is fucking incredible and being super excited about it, then Googling it and being like, oh, Dane Cook did that in 2007. Fuck.
That's a bad
yeah.
example.
Or even something close.
Yeah.
You know, you can't tell any kind of story about wanting a monkey. Otherwise, everybody thinks you're ripping off Dane Cook. You can't tell any kind of story about wanting to do a heist. You know, so it can't even be close. It can't even be close.
Yeah, you come up with this great bit where you just yell this word over and over again. You're like, Michael Richards did this already. I can't fucking say that.
God damn it, you stole my joke, you son of a bitch. I was gonna say that. You know I was gonna say that.
You were gonna say that.
Fuck. All right.
But I mean, yeah, every premise has been like tried so many fucking times. It's so hard to come up. You can't. There's only so many like popcorn shrimp out of a kangaroo pouch. You can fucking. How many jokes can you write about that before somebody else has already done it?
Yeah, but if you can do it, it's a good feeling, you know, because it's hard. And comedians are the best company ever. You know, I see comedians every single night, and that's at least half of why it's so much fun is because other comedians for the
Hey, Ziggy.
Ziggy.
Be quiet.
Hey, can Ziggy stutter?
It's insane.
Do you want to be in a movie?
Oh.
Talk about something, Pepper.
So Saturday night, I had an amazing time over at
Cronapalooza. Yeah.
Some bitch had her
close the
titties out
blinds
on
so you can't
stage.
see the other dogs. But other comedians are great company, but comedy is weird because it's a sport with almost no stats and no scoreboard. So there's like, you know, it's just you don't know how you're doing at any given time. You can't see yourself very clearly, so you only have the crowd to judge how you're doing, and it's just, you know, in some ways it's the weirdest, most cruelest. It's only as old as I am, really. The stand up like we do it now has only been around as long as I've been alive. You know, everything after those old Catskill, you know, that observational comedy and the idea of going to a comedy show that invented in the fucking 60s.
60s, yeah. That's crazy.
Fuck you.
Can you hear me? I think you're muted.
We're muted? Oh no, what have we done? We shouldn't be.
Checking on the motherfucking mic.
How's that? Any better?
Checking.
We should be
Checking
muted.
on the motherfucking mic.
Can you hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me.
Checking on the motherfucking
See what I did wrong.
Yeah. Did you put your headphones back in?
I'm just keeping it simple.
I don't think he put his headphones back in.
I don't think he did either.
Yeah.
But yeah, Saturday, some bitch had her titties on the stage.
I saw that video.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heard you the whole time. You sound great. Very handsome. I like your glasses.
I can't hear you still.
Oh,
never mind. We're fucking idiots.
Yeah.
Hello,
Checking the motherfucking
check.
mic. Checking the motherfucking mic. But
Checking,
the reason I'm so hoarse is we were watching the heavyweight championship fight.
Now you're muted. Oh.
Now you were muted for a second.
Oh, you're back now.
Okay.
Are we? You're back.
Okay, so how is that sound quality different than when I had the headphones in? Because that might have been the fucking problem. Unless you were muted. Were you muted?
No, we were the same.
It's almost the same. Ari Shafir did an entire podcast talking into a mic, and it was not plugged up to the computer, so it's fun.
You sound way better than he did.
Well, that's something.
But we were.
I can't get him to call me or answer any of my texts, but that's something.
That's fucking weird, dude.
That is strange.
And you know, well, I don't know. I don't want to blast out emails, but like I've said stuff to him, and he might not fucking like you, dude. Like I don't know. I don't know if you've ever had interaction. He might not like you.
We've never had an interaction. A lot of people have tried to pitch me to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have no idea. What did he say? Something like he did? Like he didn't like me?
I emailed him after we did our last show and told him that I think you should go on Skeptic Tank, and he emailed back something along the lines of that's a great idea. I know that name from somewhere. And I was like, this is how you know him. He's been here, here, and here. And he was like, yeah, he's in like Guam now or someplace. Where is he now? Somewhere else. But he said something about like he's traveling a shit ton. He's not doing a lot of guests, that he's kind of being really picky with the schedule he's already got booked, and that he'll get to it is basically what he said. Yeah. And that was, I mean, that's been what now, 3 or 4 months ago.
But I said something to him also separate from that. And he basically said like, yeah, I'm aware of him. Or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
Yeah.
So,
he
I mean, Steve Simone tried to get him to have me on, and a few of those crab feast guys have reached out. I think he's busy, and you know, he's in a target-rich environment. You know, he's got all these great guests, and they're his buddies, and so.
I think he also likes to come across it himself. I think he's like, hey, don't fucking tell me what to do with my show.
He's a little bit too punk rock for his own good.
Don't tell me who to have on. But yeah,
you know what's great? It'll happen when it happens.
It will, and that will be one of the best Skeptic Tank episodes of all time, Steve.
Yeah, I was telling somebody about you, and I just went through like maybe I went through like the DMT story and your Alaska house building story, and they're like, oh wow, that's crazy. I was like, and dude, like, to be honest, that doesn't even, like, that literally is the tip of the iceberg. Like, it goes so fucking deep.
Yeah, guy listening right now, I'm sure he's listening, Luke Couch, who looks like Pepper Evolved. He listens to the show, and I told him that you were coming back on this week. I was talking to him yesterday about it, and he was like, where do I know that from? And I gave him like the 2-second rundown of the Salvia story, the classic, and he was like, he's like, I'm not sure I can picture the guy, but I already know the fucking story. I know exactly who you're talking about. I was like, yeah, that guy.
That's so funny. Yeah.
Speaking of crazy,
that's
Francis Ngannou, the new UFC heavyweight champion. Go listen to his fucking episode that he did on Joe Rogan.
No,
dude, I'm telling you,
absolutely do not tell me what to do.
It took him a year and 2 months to get from Cameroon to France, and it's just so fucking crazy. Like, talking about getting transported across the Sahara by fucking human traffickers and shit. He said there was like 12 people in a Toyota Tacoma going 150 miles an hour across the fucking desert. just absolute fucking insanity. And then he has only been training like any sort of fighting since 2013. Now he's a heavyweight goddamn champion of the world. Incredible story.
Dude, you think about how tough that kind of a life would make you. That's the crazy thing about this world. It's so big. Like, even though we're sitting here now in air-conditioned splendor having our little podcast, and in many places of the world, that kind of shit is breaking out right now. There's somebody speeding through the desert in a fucking souped-up Toyota, running away from some other fucking dude in a souped-up Toyota. And it's Mad Max out there someplace.
Dude, he grew up. He started working in a sand mine at age 9. Like, what the?
You can guess how much they pay at a sand mine.
And he worked in a sand mine while he was going to school. So Rogan was like, "Well, when did you have time to work in the mine?" He was like, "Well, on weekends, and then whenever it was the rainy season, none of the adults wanted to work because you would be out there just basically freezing your ass off because it's raining 24/7 and it's colder then. So they would get us kids to work, and they were like, they loved us working because if you stop moving, you would like freeze to death. So you just got to keep it moving. I was like, Jesus Christ.
You save a lot of labor rates.
I love hearing shit like that, because anytime I'm like, oh man, my Netflix isn't working, I'm just like, yeah, well, there's somebody in Cameroon fucking hauling sand in buckets out of a fucking hole, and they did not choose to be there. So my Netflix can take however long it needs to load.
But Hulu,
yeah, for real, bro. I owned a janitorial company in Florida where a lot of the guys that worked for me were illegals and had floated over from Haiti. And their last job was they would just get to the sugarcane plantation as fast as you could, because when the sun came up over because nobody had a watch, when the sun came up over the horizon, they chose 100 guys, and everybody got a numbered machete that you would go out and work all day long. You're not allowed to stop. They had a guy on a horse that would watch you. Not allowed to stop. Cutting sugarcane out in the fucking
He paused. What's happening? Sugar cane.
Snakes and fucking shit. You go back and you hand in your machete, and they pay you $1, $1 human dollar for an entire day's wages. And that was their last job. And so they would knock it out of the goddamn park cleaning fucking, Hooters restaurants with me in Orlando. Those guys can work you to fucking death. Those guys were just machines.
I used to work with a guy who worked in a sugarcane. It might have been the same fucking one, but he said they all used to sleep in a big bunkhouse with like 30 other dudes. And he said this one guy in particular would have night terrors, and he would wake up and scare the fuck out of everybody. He said one night he woke up, and this guy, the crazy guy, had a machete in his hand, and he was hacking up a dude. Like, he was fucking hacking up the dude. And then he came over to my friend and hit him I think 5 or 6 fucking times, and then just kept moving on. And to this day, he's got a pinky, because he got hit like somewhere in the shoulder and a fucked up a tendon. So he's got a pinky that's permanently like this. And if he takes his shirt off, he's got these fucking like just gnarly fucking scars all over his back. And he was like, yeah, you got to do something when you're 19, 20.
I mean, we were going to talk about the Rushmore of Shitty Jobs, but can any of us touch that? That's fucking insane. Can you imagine that? Yeah, and guys that would work for me, they would make like $17 an hour.
Oh, that's great.
Way more money than they'd ever, and they work like 12-hour days and get overtime and shit like that. And so you'd hand them a check for 2 weeks, and it would be like $1,200 or something like that, and they would lose their goddamn mind. And so I gave this dude who was dressed in rags, started working for me, wore the same shitty basketball shorts and tank top to work every day, and flip-flops, got his first $1,200 check. And because we've been walking to clean these restaurants in this nice shopping district, he went in there with that $1,200 paycheck that he had cashed, and he bought a $1,200 outfit, like purple alligator shoes and these amazing like sequence shorts and this vest that clasped together with 2 chains in the front.
That's awesome.
And because if he left it at his apartment that he slept like a hive with 60 other dudes, it would be gone. He just threw away his basketball shorts and his tank top that he'd been wearing and his flip-flops, and he cleaned goddamn restaurants in $700 alligator shoes and this thing. He didn't know what else to put the money on. He had no concept of a bank account, didn't want to carry it on and get killed for it. So he just bought this super, super fancy pair of clothes, and he wore it every fucking day to work. God. He wore it till it just fell right the fuck off. Those alligator boots actually held up a lot better than I thought.
Yeah. Alligator's got tough skin, bro. But I mean, $1,200 cutting fucking sugar cane. That's him working 4 years essentially every single day just to make that 1 2
And now he's cleaning Hooters restaurants dressed up like a fucking Batman.
Yeah, just looking at titties wearing Ric Flair shoes.
I ghosted on that company. I have some fantasies because of the murder thing, and I have fantasies sometimes that guy like ended up in the crazy mix-up that happened after John and I disappeared. I like to believe that guy fucking, and Tempo Gene Leslie, he might be out there. He had a one-armed Haitian guy with a purple pair of shoes.
Yeah,
he might be out there slinging security to this day in Orlando for all I know,
dude.
or care.
I mean, I worked with a guy for a long time, and he would send 2/3 of his paycheck back to Mexico every single paycheck. And he finally got to the point where he was ready to move back because he had been working in America for I think 12 or 13 years. Dude, he was telling me he was trying to get me to move down there to work for him because he owned 2 convenience stores and built himself a house. And
Dude,
he was telling me like they live like somewhere down on the Yucatan. He was like, dude, quit everything up here, move down with me. I'll pay you like $20 a day or whatever. And he was like, and
$20 a day.
Yeah, but he was like, where I live, you would be rich with $20 a day. Like you can, like you would have a problem spending because they just live in like huts and shit. So his big thing, he was like, I built a concrete block house. Like if you live in a concrete block house in that area,
They call it a castle.
Yeah, dude, you are high shit because they get wiped out by hurricanes fucking, once every couple of years. So he had these 2 convenience stores that his wife and sister were running and a concrete block house. And he was like, yeah, I'm basically mayor of that town now.
That's incredible.
That was always my semi dream. It's just to like get $10,000 somehow by hook or by crook, sell my car or whatever, and then go down to some forgotten Central American, place where you can take $10,000 and it's like suddenly, you open a casino on the beach.
I was about to say that's kind of what Ari's doing right now.
Yeah, it sounded great. Man.
Yeah, he's just going like off the fucking grid and living in pieces of shit places. Not the places, that's unfair, but like very, very low means.
Yeah,
just buys them and then burns them down when he moves out.
That's it.
Probably. He loves chaos.
Boom.
Yeah. Loves chaos, hates the. All right. I was rewatching The Ranch, the Sam Elliott Netflix show, and there's an immigrant on there, Humberto. He got deported. He got in a bar fight, so that's pretty sad.
That is sad. I don't watch that show.
Yeah, does he?
Steve,
that's my immigrant story.
We didn't. I don't think. Well, actually, I don't remember anything that we talked about the last one. But did we touch too much on the Hawaii section of your life? That part, I've only heard like kind of a gloss over of what that is. I understand like kind of what happened. You got any dope Hawaii stories that you?
Oh my God! I mean, Hawaii. Imagine what Hawaii is for me. So Hawaii is the promised land for me. The whole time I was Mormon, when we would go on vacations, we would go to Hawaii because really from Alaska, it's just the next state over.
Yeah, if you look at a map, they're right next to each other.
Hawaii. Yeah, just one time zone over.
Yeah.
And so, that's the promised land. When you're freezing your fucking dick off in Alaska, you think about Hawaii. So that was kind of the promised land for me. And so I stopped being Mormon, moved to Hawaii so that I could just basically start over again, kind of witness protection. I just reinvent Steve Cantwell. There was a store in Anchorage that sold Ed Hardy clothing. Did I tell you this story?
No.
Okay, so
I like where it's going.
This is the perfect metaphor for my move to Hawaii. So Mormons wear magic underwear, and so you have to wear clothes that cover your magic underwear. And when I decided I wasn't going to be Mormon anymore, I didn't have to wear magic underwear, and so I decided I was going to buy more stylish clothes. And there was this store who we'd been cleaning the carpets at this mall, and we had a trade built up. So I had $10,000 worth of trade after I sold my business that I personally had this trade. So I had to use it up somewhere at this mall. And there was this place in the mall that had just opened up. Ed Hardy was a brand new thing. So I went in there with all $10,000 and I bought just wall to wall. I just threw away all my old clothes and I bought wall to wall. And I had, this is my sequence tiger god now.
Oh my God.
And I just, from head to toe, underwear, sunglasses, fucking trucker caps, just everything, $10,000 of that Hardy stuff, and moved to Hawaii, bought a sailboat, and just
didn't you say you bought the sailboat for like $2,000 or something?
$1,000.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And it had like no hull problems.
So it was built. The reason I bought this thing, I'm not saying superstitious, but I like the patterns in life.
Yeah.
And so I bought this sailboat because the hull was laid the same month and year that I was born, January of 1969. So it's an old motherfucking boat.
Yeah.
And at this time, they had just invented fiberglass and they had no idea how strong it was. So they just poured it fucking thick. Like you would never see this much fiberglass now, but you would see it like they were trying to make it like it was a board. So they would pour 4 inches thick of fiberglass resin, and they're just built like brick shit houses.
Wow.
So there was just the hull that some old man had like lovingly like plugged all the holes and just sanded it and made the bottom perfect and made the outside perfect, and was about to start on the inside, but then died suddenly and mysteriously. And so I bought it from his heirs. It didn't have a mast on it, wasn't rigged in any way. So I bought it and did the inside, made it nice, and then and put a mast up on it and bought sails for it and rigged it.
That's incredible.
So just use that as a place to go away from my Mormon children, for my ex-wife and I to go, and she would go find girls in places, I would find girls in places, and we would bring them back to this sailboat and have little orgies with them, just like twosomes, threesomes, foursomes. And on this sailboat, it was like this perfect dream. It was like it was like cashing the check that karmically Mormonism had written for me all these years. I was fine all those years of not masturbating, fucking one woman for 21 years. Suddenly it was like I was shipwrecked on Pussy Island, and I was just out there in the middle of the ocean. Just you would go out there and drop an anchor, and just everybody would take their clothes off and start fucking, and it was insane. And that lasted for 6 months. And then we had this one girl who we fell in love with, my wife and I. Did this happen to him? Is that what you're pointing?
No, I just remember this.
No.
I remember.
Oh yeah,
Graphies.
And so they fought. They had arguments, and they eventually started fighting. And the wife left me for some Eskimo guy after she drained all the accounts. Left me with this Peace Corps girl who we've been fucking for the last 6 months, and who I was in love with, And so I just had, the only thing I had left was the sailboat and this girl. And so that girl just stayed for, I think it was about a decade, and eventually, when I left, when I decided I was going to move to Houston for comedy, because there was this club that I'd fallen in love with here, and I was going to make Houston my home base, she bought the Steve Cantwell collection. She bought the sailboat. She bought the souped up scooter that I rebuilt. She bought all my tools. She just bought everything that I had.
She bought all the Ed Hardy clothes?
Those disintegrated into moonbeams after about dude. They were just, it looked like somebody, like you found a castaway on an island that had shipwrecked in a pair of red. You could see like the sky through the shorts if you held them up. And I had repaired them because I was poor and I didn't have the money to go buy new clothes, So I wrote, I have a quilt, actually, not here, but it's in my van, but I have a quilt that I made out of all the old Argyle Ed Hardy sweaters that I had. So cut the panels out of the back with the tiger, but in knitted wool, and sewed them all into a quilt just to remind me of my terrible fashion sins.
Oh my God.
Never distrust myself.
So did you so you bought a sailboat that was completely unfinished on the inside. Did you build the inside with the intention of having it be a fuck boat? Like, was it purpose built to fuck?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, there was a main bedroom in the front that had kind of a triangular bed, it's good for one girl at a time, but we needed a much bigger kind of orgy style bed. So I built the kitchen settee so that you could fold everything down, and it just made this perfect upholstered platform out there with a little bit of sun, a little bit of cover, right there in the kitchen where you should fuck.
Man, that's fucking awesome.
You ever fucked on a boat, Pepper?
No.
That was a long pause.
Oh, I got to think about all the times I've been on a boat.
Okay.
I've fingered a chick in a kayak.
That's close enough.
All right. Yeah, I fucked on a boat.
That counts.
A sailboat is the best, cheapest way to live in any city that's next to the ocean, and most of the good cities are next to the ocean. In Honolulu, to get a 1-bedroom apartment was about $2,000 a month plus utilities. In Hawaii, to get a boat slip is $150 or $200 a month, and that includes all utilities.
Yeah.
And it's the best fucking real estate ever. You're right on the goddamn ocean.
Yeah, I know a guy that lived here on a sailboat right by the Golden Nugget, like right there in that little port.
Oh yeah.
And lived there for years. He actually just passed away, ironically, he drowned. That's how he died.
By his boat.
A few months ago.
You could drown too.
Yeah. But he lived right there on a sailboat for years and loved it.
I grew up in Harris County, Georgia. It was right on this lake called Lake Harding, and there was like some legendary dude. Like people talked about him in like hushed tones, but he lived on a fucking little tiny island. We're talking about maybe 2 or 3 acres of an island in the middle of this fucking lake, and he would sailboat from the island to the marina, and like go to Walmart or whatever, get all the shit they need, and then just go back. It was like, I don't know anybody that had ever been on that island. I know if you pulled a boat up to it, he wasn't nice about it. But see, I also don't know if he owned the island or if he was just like, nobody's gonna fucking tell me.
Call me out.
Yeah, nobody's.
Imagine getting home being like, "Fuck, I forgot milk. I got to go back to Walmart."
But yeah, that is
were-
a fantasy of mine for sure.
There were aquatic homeless people in Hawaii that actually didn't even pay the $150 slip fees. They would just float around like tiny pirates and just like moor off in weird places. Wait till the office people go home, and they were just gonna drift in with the currents and moor up next to the fucking candy bar machine. It's just like live on rafts out there on these little islands off the coast during the daytime. Cockroach these little ski shacks, and just there was a whole crazy aquatic scene going on in Hawaii. It's a nutty place.
That's way better than living under a bridge.
Coconutty place.
Yeah,
and you can just go fishing like anytime you want too. That's so sick.
And you can eat everything except for the fucking dolphins and the turtles.
Yeah, well,
you can't. They don't have like fishing licenses in Hawaii.
No. You're dead. You're a pinprick in the center of the biggest ocean in the center of the planet. You could go out there with goddamn dynamite. It wouldn't put a dent in the ecosystem out there. It's just there's so many fish. It's just you put your face under the water to clean the hull of your boat, and there it's like you're living in a huge tropical aquarium. It's insane.
Is there any like commercial fishing based out of Hawaii?
Yeah. In fact, you can go out and just catch a giant tuna, and you can bring it in and sell it to the fishery. Yeah, and they're worth thousands of dollars each.
Yeah, you can sell tunas from like anywhere from like $500 to you get up to like the big fucking ones. You can sell them for like $2,000 fucking dollars.
Tuna's fucking delicious.
Yeah, it is.
You hear stories about $8,000 tunas.
Well, you hear so. There'll be an article every couple of years. It's like a man sells tuna for like $2 million. But in Japan at the seafood market, the first tuna of the year, like as a tradition, they fucking pay, it goes up every fucking year. So a couple of years from now, there will be a $3 million fucking tuna. It's not necessarily the best tuna. It's just a ceremonial thing that they do the first time every year.
In Japan?
Yeah.
Is that because of sushi? Is that why they have?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they're pretty serious about sushi.
Sushi's fucking great. Tuna's great.
Yeah.
I love both of those things.
They have chopped raw tuna at Costco in Hawaii. You just go there. They call it poke, and you can get there's 3 or 4 different kinds of poke at Costco, and that people will just eat that. I lost a lot of weight. I don't particularly like poke, so for a while I only ate poke because it would make me want to throw up every time I fucking ate it.
Yeah.
So it was a decent weight loss program too. Anytime you feel hungry, just force yourself to choke down a piece of poke.
Eat some fucking poke, shave your beard, you lose 12 pounds.
Fuck yes.
Yeah, that would be fucking pretty cool to just be homeless.
Let's go do it.
Because you can kill pigs and stuff around there too.
Yeah,
you can do all kinds of harm.
There are islands they got a problem with deer. They'll beg you to come kill their access deer.
Those deer are very hard to kill because they're very skittish and they're pretty small too. It's almost like they're almost like pig-sized deer, like they're tiny.
I saw a lot of like wild hog danger signs in Austin when I was over there. Is that like a big problem over there?
Yeah.
I saw those signs all over the place. Like every time I went to any kind of park or trail, it was like beware wild hogs, like on all the fucking trees and everything.
I-10 too. I mean, any of the highways. So you just hiking around there, a wild boar will fuck you up.
Yeah.
Or your dog will kill your dog. Or even just driving on the highway. I drive a little Toyota Prius a lot of times, and just giant fucking 200-pound fucking hogs come out of the bushes, and they would fuck my car up.
Oh,
for sure. The airbags would go off.
That's a dense
tow truck in the middle of butt fucking. So
you're gonna lose a radiator at the very least. Well, maybe not.
Invent some kind of trap that electrocutes them. Yeah. Electrocutes them and freeze dries them.
Anyways, you ready to get in this goddamn topic?
Me?
Yeah,
of course.
What time do you need to leave?
Oh no, I got plenty of time.
Oh, okay.
I'm in no rush.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
This week we're going to talk about. I haven't even introduced the podcast. Hey, welcome to the Rushmore podcast. My name's Pepper.
My name's Thomas.
It's a podcast where we take our Mount Rushmore of any given topic, and if you listen to it for at least 35 minutes, you'll figure out what the fuck we do with it. This week we have probably my favorite returning guest of all time, a man who needs no introduction,
Fuck
a
you,
man
Ari
who
Shaffir.
has the best stories of all time. Literally, it is Steve Cantwell.
Thank you.
And no, we're not really starting. We
didn't record
I got
any
you.
of that. That was all just the
That's
warm up.
But this week we're doing our Rushmore of Shitty Jobs, and I think we're gonna. I kind of blew a lot of mine. A lot of mine sound stupid after I told the Francis Ngannou story about his face. My number 4 is gonna be being 9 years old and working in a sand mine.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually going to switch my. We already talked about that. I was going to switch my number 4 to chopping sugarcane.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now is this? Are we? So it's the Rushmore of Shitty Jobs. So the shittiest job should be number 1, or the best job of the shitty job should be number 1.
Well, to be honest, it's however you interpret it.
Yeah.
That's one of the things about this show is Pepper and I normally come at these topics totally different.
Yeah.
But yeah, generally I would say if it's shitty jobs, you're saving the shittiest for last.
You want a big
gotcha.
pop at the end.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I mean that's our pick. So what's your number 4, Steve?
My number 4 is janitorial.
Okay.
I did that for a lot of years. I owned the janitorial company, but it was such a small company that in a lot of ways I was still doing a lot of the fucking janitorial. So carpet cleaning, stripping and wax jobs, big commercial jobs. So it was like it never stops. It's 365 days a year. It's you have just enough employees to make it so you can never fucking relax. You literally, there were times I went into I did janitorial in an Eskimo village for a few years, and the pipes all froze and at the airport, and the plane still landed, and everybody still shat in the toilets.
Yeah.
With no water for a week or more.
Oh my god.
And we had to come out and scoop the fucking shit out with coffee cups and throw it in the garbage and wash it all down and get the plumbing going. It's just ungodly thankless work, digging rotten chicken carcasses out from behind walk-in freezers and shit like that. It's just the worst fucking business. It pays well, and that's the only upside. But it stole 30 years of my fucking life. I missed a lot of birthdays and Christmases, and worked when I had the flu. It was just an unrelenting, never-ending hamster wheel of an existence. Saving all that money, stuffing it away in a pillowcase somewhere. So what? So my ex-wife can steal it and go blow it on some fucking Eskimo guy. It's just like all of that was like just wasted fucking energy. And so the least shitty of all the shitty jobs was probably the 30 years I spent essentially fucking scrubbing toilets.
So you did that in Alaska and Florida?
I did it in Florida, Alaska, Utah for a short period of time, Hawaii in some limited ways. But yeah, I started my first janitorial business as soon as I could drive. Did I tell you how I got into the janitorial business?
No, please do.
So I stole the one computer. This tells you how long ago it was. I stole the one computer that our high school had for their computer lab. It just because I had seen the movie War Games and had a hard on to see, to take this thing down to my basement and have my way with it. So over Christmas break, I took it home. And I planned this whole elaborate heist, pulled a sled up through, past the practice field and down, and left a window open for myself the last day of school. And so went in there, took the thing out, put it on a sled, pulled it over to my house. Couldn't get the fucking thing to do anything. Literally couldn't make it do anything. Plugged it in, I couldn't make it work. So it was a bust. So I was having a hard time bringing it back. So I just sold it, and of course, got caught because I turned myself in.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's also I
sold
can't
it to your
imagine,
math teacher.
I can't imagine it was a big town, and
No.
I think everybody probably knew that the one computer in the town was missing.
Yeah, it didn't take brains. So I got sentenced to helping the janitors all summer long at the school, and that was my punishment for having done this, and probation. But so the whole time that I was working in the summer, these janitors would tell me how much money we would be making if we owned a janitorial company versus working for the school district. And it was these fantastical dollars, thousands of dollars for what I'd spend the day doing.
And so by the way, every fucking city worker, that conversation happens fucking 8 times a day, dude.
Yeah.
That was not unique. That's just every fucking.
It's a fucking travesty. So as soon as I got a driver's license, I started a fucking janitorial business. I saw an ad in the want ads that was they wanted a bid for the people to clean the basketball coliseum at the university. a 10,000 seater. And so that was the first thing that I ever bid on. I looked up what the last year bid had gone, and I bid 50 cents less, thinking that whoever got it last year would just put in the same amount. So I bid 50 cents less, and by law, they awarded me the contract, sent me these letters. I signed all the contracts. And
what was the contract?
To clean it was, I can't even fucking remember. This is like
the dollar amount.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm trying to think what the dollar amount is. It seemed like a fabulous amount of money to me, but you had to have, and this was all stipulated very clearly in the contract, you had to have 30 employees to be there as soon as the sporting event ended, so that you could clean all the soda pop before it stuck to the fucking floor, and so that you could, get everything ready. And it costs a fortune to burn those lights, so they want you done in 2 hours. So they want the whole place nutted up in 2 hours, and that. So I was like, that doesn't seem so hard to me. I got 30 friends at school. I could go get.
You're 17 years old, and
16.
you have 16 years old, and you have to manage 30 people.
It seemed doable to me for some fucking perverse reason. And as you'll hear, it did not end well. So it was great on paper. Everything worked out great on paper, but it was a nightmare to get people to come on a Friday or a Saturday night when there's shit tons of things going on in your own life, to get you to commit for the whopping sum of $12 to come and spend your Friday night, mopping fucking throw up out of the fucking locker rooms of this sporting event place. So it became impossible quickly. So we tried valiantly for about 4 months of the contract, and just begging people, calling like a full-time thing, begging people, coercing people to come help. My dad's helping, my little brothers are helping, just my old scoutmaster. So eventually there was like a big sporting event someplace else, and it was just me and my dad and my little brothers cleaning this place all night. And we didn't even come close to finishing it. And the very next day, the Mormon church had rented this place for a big regional church thing. And we knew this. We knew the prophet was going to be coming to this Coliseum to speak. And so we guessed as to which side because we knew we couldn't be done. So we tried to triage the situation, and we tried to clean the part where people would be seating, and we guessed wrong. And so the people that came to see the screen that they installed there had to be seated amongst all of the fucking popcorn and peanut shells and spilled soda pop for this blowout BYU Utah State University basketball game that had happened the night before. So Monday morning we got shit canned. They terminated the contract, and then they were going to sue me because the Mormon Church like didn't give them the honorarium that they were supposed to give them because it was in fact So they threatened to sue me. And I was like, well, I'm 16. You can't sue me. And they're like, you're 16? Like the president of the physicals plant division had never even seen me. So he gets fired. I do believe that this is, they have to check me on these, I hate to slander somebody, but my recollection of it is he got fired and I got fired. He got fired for doing everything through the mail and not actually seeing that I was a minor before he awarded me this contract just based on the price alone. And I didn't get paid for the last several visits that we had done. So I owed all the kids in my high school fucking money, $18, $32, just everybody in my fucking high school. I owed hundreds of kids a little bit of money. And so everywhere I went for the last 2 years of high school, it was like, hey, you got that $8? It was just constantly, dude. It was constantly.
Jeez.
But like I said earlier, dude, like you just do shit. Like it doesn't take you any convincing or anything. You're like, yeah, I think I could do that. And then you do it. And I would say from what I've heard, about 50% of the time it works out.
Yeah. And 57% of the time it ruins everybody's life.
Yeah.
Did you ever get any free BYU tickets?
No.
That's bullshit.
All right. My number 3 on Mount Rushmore of Shitty Jobs is police officer.
You've been a police officer?
Yeah, I know a couple, and I know around what they get paid, and I don't think it's worth it. I don't think it measures it out at all.
So you're not going with your.
So you don't
jobs,
have to have had the
jobs.
job to have it on your list.
Oh no, I've only had basically one job. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Well, I've only had like one job. I mean, I've been in landscaping since I was 13 years old.
Is that a shitty job?
I mean, I worked at Chick-fil-A for 2 weeks.
And which one's worse?
Chick-fil-A by 1,000.
Yeah,
I will say, as far as fast food restaurants, it is the cleanest one you'll ever go to.
Oh, it's the best run one ever.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, those Christians have got going on. I don't know what they're. Do they brainwash you in some way? But all those people are crazy friendly.
No, it is a cult for sure. It is.
It's run like a recruiting center.
Yeah, no, it's a cult for sure. Okay, so perfect example. The first day that you start, you have to watch a video about I don't remember the fucking guy's name. He's got like a girl name. The owner or the founder. You have to watch a 30-minute video about like the history of the founder, and it's basically like a church like worshiping him. It's fucking weird.
Yeah,
strange.
And they have just like any
he
cult.
Probably wrote that.
Yeah, probably. And just like any cult, they have like this hierarchy where everybody has like, you have a crew leader and a crew manager, and then you have there's all these like unique positions, and it's just fucking weird. It's really fucking weird.
It's like a belt system with karate.
Yeah, basically.
Did you know Charlie Manson was a Scientologist? I just learned that yesterday.
Really?
Yeah, I just found that out.
Hey, Bundy was a Mormon.
Yeah, he was.
Oh yeah, Bundy was a Mormon.
Bundy was a Mormon.
That's our boy.
Is it? That's it. That's your guy?
That's our guy.
Police officer was also going to be on my list, but it was higher. But for the sake of not going straight back to it in the next round, I'm going to make it my number 3 also. I don't think you're going to have either of my 2 or 1.
Oh, I doubt it.
But I had police officer as my number 3.
Yeah, man, being a cop fucking sucks.
It's a thankless job.
We got a buddy, like his first week, he had to deal with like a 16-year-old kid got fucking shot in the face, and he had to deal with the mom like all night. And he came home and was just like, yeah, it's fucking. And I'm like, dude,
it's traumatizing.
Yeah. And I mean, starting out, they make like, like $14, $15 an hour. It's like, you got to pay me way more than that. And then
they could be shot at any moment.
Any moment. Dramatically underpaid. And also, anytime a cop pulls up, even if they're there to help you, there's always something that comes over you like, fuck, the cops are here. That's like, it's always negative. Even if they're there to help, you're like, God damn it, fucking cops are here. Unlike firefighters, every time a firefighter pulls up anywhere, you're like, thank God the fucking firefighters are here.
They say that's the way to get out of a ticket. If the first thing's out of your mouth when the cop walks up to you and tells you why he stopped you is, thank God you're here. Yeah. If you say somebody did a study on that. So if you say, "Oh, thank God you stopped me. I had no idea I was going that fast. That could have been really unsafe. Thank you, officer." Yeah. And they'll be like, "Well, we'll let you off with a warning."
Yeah. They don't get that. They don't get the appreciation.
I'll tell you right now, I have never been arrested in my entire life. Never gone to jail, and there is one reason for that. Well, okay, 2 reasons. Number 1, I'm white as shit. Number 2, I know how to talk to police.
Yeah.
I've been talking to police for 15 years at this point.
Sure.
I fucking know how to talk to police. I do it all the fucking time. And like, even if I see a police officer at a bar, like I saw one this Saturday at a bar. It's like, if you're nice to them, it goes such a fucking long way. Because there's so many people, they walk up to that driver's side window like, why the fuck did you stop me, dude? I wasn't fucking doing anything.
Such a silly strategy.
Yeah.
They're hated for a living.
Yeah.
Do you ever watch the Sovereign Citizen videos?
No.
Oh my God.
What's that?
So it is a thing where these fucking retards think that they are like completely above the law and that they can explain their way out of anything by reciting the Constitution.
Yeah.
Because all that shit. So it's just, and they always get arrested and shit because they are being.
Yeah. It always turns into their window being busted out.
But it's also like, it's like, dude, the guy pulled you over for like window tint.
Yeah.
And then he ends up fucking like with 15 fucking tickets and all this shit.
Am I being detained? Am I being detained? Am I being detained?
I don't have to tell you my name. I don't have to. There's nothing in the law that states I need to tell you my name. It's like, okay, dude.
Yeah. I don't need your permission to drive a car.
Yeah.
What's the end game to that? All right. Have a good day. I'll see you later.
They're never right. Like they never, it's like, okay, cool. You're right. Well, enjoy the fucking $800 worth of tickets that you just got.
Prison must be full of people like that. People that you can't talk sense to,
Oh yeah.
On some level, it just must be a self-selected society for people that just are tuned in to be mouthy with cops. My ex-partner, the murderer guy, was fucking nasty with cops. He got pulled over once for speeding, and he was practically challenging the cop to a fight.
Yeah.
And I was like, who talks to anybody that way, let alone a cop?
Yeah. It's gross.
Over a speeding ticket.
What came of the documentary? Did you finish that?
So that is, I have no idea. So here's the thing with that. we did shoot a bunch of that stuff,
Yeah.
and we recorded a little project of the Salvia story, so that was a separate project. But then they had this idea to do a documentary, and when push came to shove, and their contract stated they wanted to own these stories in perpetuity, and also be able to change whatever they wanted to. So that would essentially mean that they were just going to use my stories as some raw building blocks to make something that they had idea, it needs a car chase here or there, or maybe it would be interesting if he was also the murderer, but just whatever kind of fuckery that they want to do to make it more interesting. And they wanted to, and so it made it so that if I wanted to do anything else for the rest of my life, even down to a podcast, I would have to get their written permission to do so. And they had the right to negotiate with me because they also owned my stories now, and that they could also sell my story wholesale to, like, if somebody wanted to make a musical of my life, they came to me and I wanted too much money, they could just go to these guys and negotiate a lower price. So, on some very good advice from Sickler and from Larson and from Josh Adam Myers, I just I passed on it.
That's a very good
idea.
Because Sickler said something interesting to me. He said, "We live in a time that you don't need them. You can just go tell these stories, and then they're your stories forever. You tell them how you want to. Because I don't, I make a living out of telling these stories. I'm certainly making a life of telling these stories, and I don't want some movie version or some documentary version that contradicts the version that I'm telling on stage, or that I'm telling on some podcast, because it fucks with it. You can't have two different things, that Batman's allergic to or afraid of or whatever. It's got to be.
It's not the same thing, but as far as like people like that, like companies changing stories and sometimes not for the better, especially they could make you look like a fucking asshole in any of them.
Yes.
But I remember Daniel Tosh. I don't know if y'all remember whenever he told the rape joke or whatever, and the girl threw a fit in the crowd and wrote like an article about him and tried to years ago and tried to cancel him, but it was back then because he said something like, "Wouldn't it be funny if 5 guys raped her right now?" Well, Law and Order did an episode about that. I don't know if you remember that, but they
remember that.
Weeks after, not weeks, it was months after, Law and Order did an episode where a comedian said something very similar, and he pointed out a girl made a rape joke. And then 5 minutes later in the Law and Order episode, that comedian left, raped a girl, and slit her fucking throat. So they were like, Daniel, this is based on Daniel Tosh, but we just made him a rapist and a murderer instead of a guy that told a joke.
Well, that movie 30 Seconds or Less about the pizza delivery guy that had the bomb on his neck, it's like that happened. Yeah. If you ever see the documentary Evil Genius, once you see Evil Genius and then you watch that movie, it's like, oh, so this is what they do with stories.
Yeah. And I don't want that, No. And it's not like they were offering fabulous amounts of money either, is the crazy thing. They were offering pickup truck.
Yeah.
Amount
we own your life. Here's $5,000.
Yeah.
No, that's fucking crazy.
Than that, but
okay.
$35K.
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but it's not enough money, because it's to essentially, the Mormon Church, if they didn't like me telling stories about fucking magic underwear, they could come along and buy the rights to this fucking place and just shut it the fuck down and just silence me forever.
Yeah. Send a fucking Ted Bundy after you.
Yeah.
Nah, man, I think even if it was like close to $1 million, I don't know if that'd be worth it. Because there's
funsies, we pitched $2 million to them at one point.
Yeah.
And they laughed. Like,
okay.
No.
Yeah. They're like, take 2 zeros off of that.
Now, somebody asked me, we're talking about like stupid shit that would never happen, but somebody was like, what if somebody gave you $1 million for Rushmore podcast? I was like, no. To own everything about it. And I was like, no. He was like, you're fucking stupid. And I was like, yeah, but you don't know, like nobody knows. And most likely if somebody bought it, they would ruin everything. Because that's what Hollywood does first. They ruin it and then they try to repackage it and put it out, and it doesn't do well. So you have something over here that was by itself successful, good, all this stuff. And then they put their they literally shit in it to try to make it better, then put it out and it doesn't go well because it fucking sucks. And they're like, yeah, it just wasn't a good idea. It's like, it was a good idea. You fucked with it so bad that it ruined it. But I wouldn't take $1 million.
I'd take $1 million for it. I'll just do it without telling you, and then I'll show up in like alligator shoes and fucking new car and be like, Netflix presents Rushmore podcast. Pepper, how was your week?
All $1 million on one set of clothes.
What pair? Oh man, that would be good. What's your number 3, Steve?
So my number 3 is farm work of
Ooh.
any kind. I actually did I thought these were the worst jobs we've ever had. So there may be different jobs. So these are all mine are jobs that I've actually lived.
Well, for being honest, this was your topic suggestion, and we fucked it up. So you're doing it right.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of a fun thing where we all kind of interpret the topic differently. It's fun.
Yeah, that is. So farm work is my number 3. It's just I grew up in kind of a farming community, and I kind of helped. I didn't have a farm per se growing up, but all of my cousins lived on farms, and so I would always come help them, like haul hay and do some of the big labor intensive things that happened during the different seasons. So I definitely got my taste of it, and it's fucking thankless, shitty, goddamn cold, early in the morning, never relenting fucking work.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I lived 8 years doing agrarian work on an apple orchard and a mink farm, and that was fucking shitty. And it just,
Tyler, Texas.
it stinks. All the cows kick, all the mink bite.
Yeah.
It's just everything breaks down. It's the middle of the fucking night when things
my
happen.
God.
It's just.
Yeah,
I've
if you
completely
ever get around to watching the ranch, dude, it would be way cooler with Sam Elliott.
I completely forgot about the fucking mink cages. Dude.
I bear a psychic scar for that one.
That's such a fun detail. How
They
you
lost their
electrified?
farm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
What's your number 2,
Pepper?
Pepper?
Not real.
Oh, number 2 is being the U.S. president.
That was my number 1.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Thankless job. Half the people fucking hate you, no matter what you do. Even if you're the fucking best one, half the people fucking hate you. It fucking sucks.
Also,
you only make $400K a year.
Imagine how much shit the president does have to do that they don't give a fuck about.
No.
That they have to act like they give.
They have to
about.
show up and like pardon a turkey every year. Nobody wants to do that.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
It's a terrible job. Also, like cops, you could be shot at any time.
True. Technically, it's the most deadly job in America.
I just listened to like a 4-hour podcast on Charlie Manson, which I referenced a while ago, and I just did it again. That's weird. But the squeaky girl, Squeaky Fromm,
Yeah.
she didn't get arrested. I didn't know this, so I'm a fucking idiot. She didn't get arrested for any of the Manson shit. She got off completely squeaky clean, and she was freed up. Everything's all good. 6 years later, after they all went to fucking jail and shit, and she was like his right hand woman. And she didn't get arrested for any of the shit. 6 years later, she pulled a gun on Gerald Ford, and the gun jammed. Put it up to his fucking face. Got right up to him on stage and tried to shoot him, and the gun jammed. And then she got taken down and got arrested and sent to jail for life. How the fuck do you get out of the Manson shit and then still spend your life in prison?
I mean, crazy ass bitches.
Ass bitches.
That's what a level do to you.
Yeah. Well, president was my number 1, but I'll shift it to number 2. We rarely have crossovers, so it's very strange that we had so much.
Oh, if we
we're not gonna have one.
We'll see.
Yeah, we won't have crossover on number 1.
We'll see.
Steve, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is Starbucks. For a brief period of time, I attempted to manage a Starbucks.
You went straight to manager?
No, well, I was pretty old at the time, and I'd had quite a bit of experience running businesses.
Yeah.
And so I applied for being the manager.
So you were like the operator, like the top guy.
I was trying to become the top guy, and they were like, okay, well, here's essentially the job. You have to let us train you, and that takes a little while. Send you through Starbucks U essentially, and so it's we need people of your age to be in the building. It's a bunch of young kids, and so you're basically there just to make sure that nobody's fucking in the banana room.
Yeah.
And and so I work there, and
everybody was
no
fucking
idea.
banana room.
Everybody's fucking in the banana room. I have no idea what's going on. It's just, and I'm busy working on learning how to work the drive-through and learning where the how many pumps go in a grande and that shit. Just my mind is boggled trying to learn new shit, and they're all just back there getting freaky.
Yeah. You're like, that's a fucking triangle bed. It's for one girl.
I just you're doing it all wrong. So it was a whole freaky scene. I just it was a shit job. It was the people were rude.
Yep.
You're working with a bunch of young people and listening to them talk on a headset all day long. They're just talking about everybody has a boa constrictor and everybody is trying to wonder whether parents are going to let them get a tattoo.
Yeah.
And it was just Little
Yeah.
slice of hell.
Dude, hearing about young people problems is the most exhausting thing on the planet.
It's insane.
My wife, Hot Topic, the store.
Yeah.
My wife manages one of those. So
Right now.
yeah, so she has to
yeah.
deal with like children essentially,
Yeah.
and the issues that children have, and it is mind numbing to hear, because she'll call me sometimes just to vent, and she'll be like, "Okay, so here's what happened today. So Taylor is a lesbian, and I shouldn't use real names, and and Drew kept hitting on her, and then Margaret got mad at Drew for hitting on Taylor because Taylor's obviously a lesbian and she's told everybody. So she's got one chick that's like a lesbian, I guess. She's got one chick that is like non-binary, blah blah blah, kind of, it's like some
kids
days
are.
Yeah. So she's dealing with like those kind of kids, and it is exhausting. It's like you guys can't just show up to work and fucking just fold t-shirts and mind your own goddamn business.
I think the same kind of kids work at Starbucks that work at Hot Topic.
Very, very similar. A lot of facial piercings, a lot of fucking tattoos, odd colored hair.
Yep.
Bad asses and titties, and just beautiful.
And everybody's got a preferred pronoun and is on high vigilance for that, and it's just
really bad at
kids
sucking
these days.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Love
I
anal.
never did anything
Love
bad.
anal,
but,
You're talking about all the positives.
Yeah, no, I started talking about the positives. Yeah, I really like goth chicks. That's like my favorite thing.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never had sex with a goth chick.
Get one, dude. What, like legally
legally
obtain one. But I'm saying, like, chat one up. They're fun. They're emotionally exhausting, and they might hit you or pull a knife on you. That's nothing that you've never seen. You fucking.
The older I get, the faster I've lost my taste for certain amounts of crazy bullshit. Especially in relationships like that. But my fantasies run to dying alone in a bed someplace.
You need a nice farm girl.
I maybe just the problem with girls is to do stand up. You're someplace every night, so you have to go out to a little bar someplace every night, and nobody understands that. And so the worst thing that happens if you fall madly in love with one, and then she wants you to reverse your vasectomy and then have babies and get married and shit, and you're just like, I already did that for 21 years. This next, until I die, that's all about stories and stand up and stuff like that. I can't be staying home at night because you're exhausted. So I'm not doing that. So it might be the way of my life just to be alone, and I'm fine with that.
What if you?
With that.
Well, especially if the fucking year you've had alone's probably great right now.
Yeah. If I never see pussy again, it will be too soon.
A stripper would have the around the same work hours as you.
Yeah, that's true. But then she's a fucking stripper.
Okay, but
they'd be sleeping at the same time.
They're generally physically fit.
No, they're not.
And clean.
No, they're not.
For the most part. If you get a good pro with.
Okay.
They make great money. All right.
Now, listen, there was a time in my life.
This is the dating game?
Yeah, I'm not gonna try to sell you on dating a stripper.
Yeah, that sounds like a cautionary tale. I don't need any more crazy stories.
Yeah.
Pull up.
What's your number one, Pepper?
All right, my number one on my Rushmore of shitty jobs is I got two. I'm trying to whittle it down.
There's no way we cross over on this one.
I'm gonna go with crab fishing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody's watched Deadliest Catch. So
yeah.
I don't like being on boats, and I don't like being cold.
Okay.
And those are two like really fucking just mainstays of crab fishing.
Those are two things Steve has spent a lot of time doing, being on boats and being
that's
cold.
True.
Yeah. And just sleep deprived.
Yeah.
I've never commercial fished, but I've known a lot of commercial fishers, but oh my God. Hey.
Ziggy.
It's okay, Ziggy.
Hold on.
He's like, crab talk. Are crabs aggressive?
I highly depend on the crab.
Okay.
Soft shell crabs are very aggressive.
Soft shell crabs?
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like a fucking pussy crab.
Well,
Why would you be scared of a soft shell crab?
Their shells are soft, so they have to have extra pinchy defense.
Okay.
So
this is true of people too. It's the soft shell ones that are aggressive.
Yeah, those fat fucks.
Yeah, you always gotta. Don't worry about the lifelong gang member guy. Worry about the guy on the fringe that's trying to get his way in. That's the fucking wild card.
Yeah, the guy that's quiet.
Yeah.
I'm trying to impress everybody.
Or the guy that's louder than everybody else. It's the quiet guys and the louder guys that are scary. It's the tallest guy on the bar and the shortest guy on the bar that's scary.
You just don't like extremes? They freak you out?
Well, no, they are legitimately dangerous.
I wouldn't say the loudest guy is dangerous. They're normally the ones that don't have much.
Yeah, but they have a lot to prove, and if they're around people that they want to prove shit to, that's when shit gets crazy. That's how like fucking murders happen in biker bars.
Okay.
It's always the fucking fringe guy. Like there was a bunch of fucking biker f words up in Columbus. And it was never the guys that were like actually in the fucking biker gang. It was the fucking hanger-ons that would be like, you're like, oh yeah, you should see my fucking friends. My fucking friends will come whoop your ass.
Yeah.
And like they try to start shit, and then they try to get their fucking biker buddies to bail them out of the bullshit they got in.
Clubs are very strange to me.
Yeah. Have we full on talked shit on bikers here?
I don't think so.
Yeah, no, we did.
Did we?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I called them the F word before.
What F word are you talking about? Like Foo Fighters?
No.
Okay. I don't know what he's saying. Steve, you have any idea?
No. I like bikers. Bikers are. I want no trouble.
Fragile.
What's your number one, Thomas?
Okay. My number one is going to be, I guess it's interchangeable, but daycare worker, owner, or really babysitter, but more specifically daycare. One, if you own a daycare, let's go with that. The liability has to be fucking terrible.
Let's say you own like a smaller one.
Okay. My mom owned a daycare when I was a kid in Orange Grove, Mississippi. I would say there's probably 60 kids that went there. That's got to be fucking miserable. Yeah. First of all, kids, accidents happen constantly. So all the parents probably always think you're abusing the kids, no matter what. Everybody thinks you're a pedophile. The insurance has got to be fucking horrible. The hours suck because they're dropping their kids off when they're going to work in the morning. So you got to be there ready to fucking go full-fledged. It's just an awful. And kids suck. Yeah. Like young kids like that, they're gross. They're annoying. They eat all your ketchup.
Every kid that I've ever met that isn't mine is fucking horrible.
Yeah, just awful. That would be a terrible job. Also a thankless job and could get shot at any time, just like the other ones. Okay. What's your number one, Steve?
My number one is an Uber driver.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's got to be
the worst.
Did you see the guy that just got killed?
No, Uber driver or passenger?
Uber Eats driver. He was 66, an immigrant from
Oh, God damn it.
Have you seen this?
No, he's 66 driving Uber.
He's 66. He's an immigrant from Pakistan. He's only been in America for 3 years, and he was driving Uber, and these two girls tried to steal his car. They were 13 and 15. They tased him, and when he was hanging halfway out of his own vehicle trying to get back in, they pulled him out and tased him. He was trying to get back in, hanging halfway out. They fucking slammed on the gas. It said it accelerated for 9 full seconds. He ran into a wall and died. Oh, this is like last week, and I have not watched it, but it is all over Twitter. There's video of the whole thing.
I'm not watching that.
I'm not watching it either, but there's video of all of it.
Fuck. I mean, some of the hardest working people ever are working Uber, but it's a bunch of places where you don't necessarily have to be a
American.
Yeah. You don't have to be absolutely legal to be an Uber driver. You just have to have a car that's registered to you. And that's kind of there's ways to dance around that. And then so a lot of these Uber drivers lived in their Uber cars. And so for me, it looked like the perfect side job for comedy because I could do it, at whatever city I happen to be in. I could always go to the airport and pick up rides and take them wherever the fuck your phone tells you where to go. So you don't have to know the city at all. And I would just go sleep in my, go to the comedy show and then go sleep down at the airport in the Uber lot because that was a safe place to park. And I had an Uber sticker. So it just, and there was a whole bunch of fucking guys from Pakistan and places doing exactly what I was fucking doing, just living the dream, Ubering in between there, whatever the fuck they had going on. But it's a treadmill. There's ways that you can make good money, and there's ways that you can just it can just be a horrible way and just put a bunch of miles on your car. But it was a good practice for me to tell stories. But they fucked me really. I got a problem with Uber because
I want to get into it because I don't know anything about like the inside of Uber.
So for a long time Uber didn't take tips. You would just see it was a tip-free environment. That was kind of one of their first come-ons. So Lyft came along and they did tips, and that attracted a bunch of drivers to Lyft. And so Uber, to compete, decided that they were going to tip too. And so they, on the first day that they were going to do tips, they did this thing called Double Tip Tuesday, which was every tip that you get during this 24 hours on this Tuesday, the first day, every time a customer gave you a tip, they would match it up to $100. And I was like, fucking A. And I read the fine print and I couldn't see any reason why not. So I just gave my daughter a whole bunch of rides around the block and she tipped me $100 every time, you know? And we were up to like, have I told you this story before?
No.
Oh, okay. I always have to check that with people because I'm just constantly fucking telling stories.
Well, you also got 1,000, so lows change.
So I'm above. We've after a few hours of this, you know, I've made like $16,000 or some shit like that. I've just taken her around her phone, really, just around the block, and tipping myself $100, and then they would match it with $100. So of that 16 grand, I was going to get to keep 8 of it, and I'm cruising along, and suddenly everything freezes. My driver app freezes, my daughter's app freezes, and they suspend us both for fraud. And so I called it, and working for Uber is like working for a goddamn vending machine. There's no supervisor to call. There's no place to go talk to anybody. So you're literally on hold with somebody, and their driver support line sounds like it rings at a payphone at a refugee camp, someplace that is not nice to live. It's just like whoever happens to be walking past the canteen, hello, you know, and you're just like, listen, you know, you guys fucked me at a double tip Tuesday, and then they're like, oh, you're on hold forever with this strange music playing. So it is months of trying to get because this is the way I'm feeding myself. So, you know, I have to go start doing carpentry jobs and shit like that while my Uber account is suspended, while I'm literally spending all day sometimes on hold trying to talk to Bangladeshi people about my very complicated double tip Tuesday problem. And I'm like, it doesn't say in the fine print anywhere that it can't be your daughter or it can't be the same person over and over again. It just says, don't hate the player, hate the fucking, you wrote the fucking rules. So I can't make them see sense. So they refund all the money to my daughter, 8,000 of it to my daughter. They never give me my cut. They just fuck me out of it, but they do reinstate and I was a highly rated Uber driver because I only gave these select rides from the airport. And, and I was charming as a motherfucker. Yep. I always got 5 stars. And so I was one of the highest ranked Uber drivers in the world. I had like 4.9. 978 was my rating.
Incredible.
Just crazy high numbers. So, and I was fuckers on the phone. If you care about your business, you want me out there driving Uber. You didn't put any caveats whatsoever in your fucking double tip Tuesday thing. It's all in writing. I could probably sue you if it were more than $8,000, but they fucked me. There was nothing I could do about it, so I just I quit.
To be fair, that does kind of sound like fraud to me. I mean,
it wasn't fraud.
Steve, if we're gonna be, hey, listen, just a couple guys here. We know what you did.
Side with the goddamn vending machine.
Don't hate the player. Hate the fucking.
That kind of sounds like fraud.
It's nothing fraudulent about it. I
went
Uber around the block.
Use Lyft. Use promo code Rushmore.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
10%
fuck Uber.
off.
Fuck Uber. We're Lyft guys.
Yeah.
Do you have any problems with Lyft?
No.
All right.
There you go.
Wonderful
they
company.
have yet to fuck me.
Take a Blue Chew, take some Pure Spectrum CBD, hop in a fucking Lyft, use promo code Rushmore on all that shit.
Yeah.
Send Steve Cantwell $8,000. Let's all pitch in and make up.
It wasn't fraudulent, but it was a little sneaky.
Yeah. Hey, if you want to help make up for that, you can always contribute to the on Venmo at Electric Watermelon.
Boom.
Venmo Electric Watermelon. Is there any spaces or any weird bullshit with that?
No.
Electric Watermelon. That'll be busted up.
If you listen to this podcast, you've heard Steve Cantwell on 2 separate episodes, and you know how fucking good he is. Go Venmo Steve Cantwell. Fucking
$1,000. $1,000. Yeah, right.
$1,000 or 5.
Yeah, or say you're at the end of your life. You didn't have any kids.
Yeah.
You're looking for something to bequeath your money to.
Yes.
Send $4,000. That's the max you can send on Venmo. It's like contributing to the arts. It's to the endowment of the arts. That's right. Give me all of Aunt Bess's money. You don't know. You're not gonna do anything with it.
Yeah,
I'll start a dope ass podcast in a van.
Yeah, that's a plot to a country song.
Steve Cantwell is not done making good stories.
That's right. Give
him money to do more ridiculous shit, and he will.
That's right.
It's like investing in your favorite TV show.
That's right.
If
they could have kept Seinfeld on by donating money.
Fuck yes.
Or made it better even.
Yeah.
But we are still, well, we'll figure it out.
My mic was being weird. All right, Steve, I do got to get the fuck out of here. I got to go host karaoke at a local bar.
Hey, I'll come sing karaoke with you some night.
I would love to. I wanted to stop in Houston and see you, but once we were going through Houston, I'm like, there's no fucking way I'm getting off this interstate.
I'm a good karaoke singer. Next time we do a podcast, we should talk Rushmore of karaoke songs.
Let's do karaoke songs.
Yeah, because me and you are both incredible at karaoke, and then he hosts it.
Yeah, I just host it.
Perfect. Well, that's perfect. Somebody's got to run the knobs.
Yeah,
No,
that's
that's
a
me.
good topic.
Thomas the fucking knob runner.
All right, Steve, we fucking love you.
Love
you
you.
are the fucking best.
Love you.
My
Thanks,
favorite.
guys. Love you guys.
Love you.
Thank
Love
you.
you.
Thank
Love
you.
you. Love
All right,
you.
see you later.